It's movie review time. Life of a Middle Schooler is a film directed by Camden, Jewell and stars Ciarletta, Benjamin Strait, Sahara Tanner, Anna K. Boatright, Dalton Pender, and Matthew Simpson. The basic plot is there's this young loner boy who is new to the school and has no friends. There's this mean bully Charles who tortures him, and Henry just doesn't know how to fit in. But thankfully, Minecraft kid Philip is here to save the day with his jokes.
You want to hear a joke?
And befriends Henry. There's also Henry's love interest, Christy, who's always trying to impress. Oh, and Amanda is also there. The movie just kind of goes from location to location and things happen. For example, there's a scene where the kids are playing dodgeball and Philip dies. So Henry must show
that you don't have to be popular or athletic to win a dodgeball game.
But apparently you do, because Henry can't throw, and then he dies. There's also a scene where this teacher just starts going on a rant about
an academic education.
But it's also the best scene in the movie, because you can tell that the teacher isn't acting. That's just real. Then at some point, Philip starts singing while using the bathroom, and then actual Hitler, Charles' friend, comes and takes a picture of him using the toilet. And I guess that's funny. Anyways, Philip is really embarrassed at his singing and tries to get the phone, but straight up dies. Then there's a scene where Charles and his friend are locked out of the school dance, but haha, they're not locked out, they're just stupid. At one point, Philip leaves because he's died too many times, and Henry remembers, oh yeah, he's the protagonist, and fights Charles, but loses. A good 10 minutes of the movie is dedicated to this fight, and Henry loses. Anyway, Philip comes back, the other bully character decides to stop bullying and becomes their friend, and the movie ends like The Breakfast Club. Literally same song and everything. And that's the movie. That's Life of a Middle Schooler. It's rough. This is the first major film directed by Camden Jewell, and it really shows. Some behind the scenes revealed that there was no official script. Scenes were just made up on the spot or written the day before, meaning none of the actors knew what was really going on, and filming was just generally chaotic for everyone. But there are some positive elements. A couple of the jokes do actually work. Philip is an unintentionally funny character, and overall it is fun to watch. It's a good movie to watch, but usually for the wrong reasons. It's mostly funny about, how terrible it is. So yeah, now for the problems, and there's a lot. First off, like I said, this movie doesn't really have a plot. Now, one could argue that the story is really about Philip being bullied and how his friends stick up for him and his overall experience with that, but that's not really a plot. That's more of a subplot. And even then, this subplot shows the bigger problem with this entire film. And that is, Henry is not a protagonist. The film may want you to think he's a protagonist, but he is not. Henry barely does anything in this film. He tries to avenge his friend, but loses. He tries to date the girl, but loses. At the climax of the film, he trains for 5 minutes and instantly loses to Charles in a fight. He doesn't do anything. Nothing he does affects the plot. Not his actions, not his inactions, nothing. He doesn't even choose to be friends with this group. If anything, this kid Brian is the only one who actually goes through a character arc, meaning that they have a character flaw at the beginning and they overcome it and change at the end. At the beginning, he's with the bully group, he's with the jocks, Charles and stuff, and then he renounces his bully ways and becomes friends with the outside group. He's the only one to show an actual change in character development. Also, Christy doesn't do anything. She has this weird, rough relationship with her sister, but they don't really expand upon that. They have a couple of arguments, but then at the end, they just magically walk out of the school together, like they've been best friends and they smile at each other and stuff. But nowhere in the film does it expand upon that, and do they talk and try to make up. It just sort of happens. Also, Amanda is just there. She's there for the most horrible delivery of exposition ever.
Yeah, Yeah, sure. I'll tell you the different kinds of groups in the school.
She serves no real purpose to the plot. And yeah, that's the biggest problem with this film. It's the characters. The characters are very weak. They're not fleshed out. Let's talk about cinematography. It's rough. Now, this was Camden's first film, and it was shot on an iPad, but it really shows. There's some shots that go on for an actual minute. Unbroken, static. And I just mean where the camera just sits there and watches these people talk. Not in a creative way or artistic way, it just sits there. Doesn't move. Other times when two characters are talking, the camera will go back and forth between the characters talking, and that's it. Once again, for like a minute. And so it's very, very cringy to watch. It's just very unpleasant to look at. The lighting is off. The color is weird. It's just, everything is off in that regard. It's just very rough. The dialogue. Yeah, it's pretty cringy. Most of the times, they don't talk like middle schoolers. They barely talk like humans. Most of the jokes are pretty unfunny. And everything is just so weirdly straight to the point.
Let's change the subject here.
Let's change it to Christy, who Christy likes.
Like in a real conversation, you would subtly or find a way to change the topic to who Christy likes. You wouldn't just flat out say, yes, let us move our conversation over to whom Christy likes in this very moment. It's just so weird and awkward. And the delivery definitely doesn't help. Now for the acting. Listen, these are child actors. 14, 15, little to no experience. I get that. But man, it can be cringy sometimes. I mean, Henry says every single line the exact same way. Every time. It's impressive. Like, just no emotion behind those lifeless eyes. It sounds like he's just reading the script aloud. Amanda is that. Philip is too busy breathing and stuttering to properly say his lines. But to be fair, he does give the most energy of the group and usually does try to be funny. Christy is clearly the best of the group. She does really try to bring something to her character, that bland character written for her. So she really does try and is the most believable. Charles isn't remotely threatening, but does have some genuinely funny and goofy moments. Brian's decent, he tries to juggle the bully and the nerd character. He does that. He does that pretty well. But yeah, once again, I get it. They're child actors. They're young. But it can be rough to watch. So yeah, that's Life of a Middle Schooler. The first film by Camden and Jewell. It's got some rough spots. Now, it is a great watch if you want to unintentionally laugh. And it does have an air of nostalgia around it, reminding you of those carefree middle school days. But it can be rather cringy. So I say Life of a Middle Schooler gets 35 out of 100, meaning it's a fair film to watch. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and head over to Cyberdyne Productions to watch more movie review time.